Hi guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Today is Monday, January 16, 2017. We have the price of gold at 1204.10. It's risen slightly, and the price of silver right now at $16.90. And let's get into some of the world economic factors that are going to be pressing in. Now we're noticing that there's the serious risk of a trade war developing between China and the U.S. and with the strengthening dollar. And we know that we have a president-elect. It's threatening tariffs of China. It's great for America. Don't get me wrong. This is a great policy to be able to recover manufacturing. We are getting crushed on trade. They have shut down many factories in the United States. They're using Chinese slave labor over there to create goods. We cannot compete for all the high-tech equipment and fancy machines we have doing the work over here. And the high minimum wage, they have an army of people that will do it just to be provided food and shelter. So it's great for America, but the thing we have to think about in this is there's a restructuring of the world's investments. We're on a largely global scale right now where everything has been intertwined and connected, and American companies, the ultra-rich, are no longer American companies. They're world companies, and they're using different parts of the world to be able to create their business, to be able to generate wealth. It may not benefit America in turn, but at the same time, we have a global economy that is dependent on one another. In fact, Alex Weber, the chairman of Swiss Bank and the former president of the German Bundesbank, stated it's too early to give the all clear. The cyclical upswing hides, but it does not solve the world's underlying structural problems, which is over excessive debt. All world economies are relying on their own version of a central bank. They've moved into all countries, and unwillingly on our central bank. So with this, we're having a serious issue. The strengthening dollar, it could strengthen these policies even more to be able to compete with trade with China. If you notice, the country of China, it's gone from being like the second poorest country in the world to now being number 2 and some days number 1 economy in the world. So a lot of the world's investments and money and the development that is going into that country and the already shakiness within their manipulated stock market is all as a result of vast amounts of wealth being transferred over to China, because that's where these companies are operating. And shaking that up with this interconnected economy. For so long, our monetary policies have been tied in with, on a global scale, we've had these globalist leaders that have been trying to merge the world's economies and to be able to work on a global scale. And so they're all connected. So, for example, the ECB president, Mario Draghi, he reported the risks of the rising dollar is a vulnerability. It hampers them from slowing quantitative easing to be able to curb inflation. We've merged into a very highly globalized economy. Italy agreed to add 6.6 billion euros to Monte dei Paschi di Siena, the BMPS, and there's still the fears with Deutsche Bank looming. Nothing has been solved. Nothing has been fixed. And a lot of the times we're trapped in our small little world about how it only affects us, but there is a global economic crisis that is brewing and churning and bubbling underneath the mix. And you can't just, once the soup is burned or burning, you can't just throw in some good ingredients and expect it to taste good. It's sour. The entire system is sick, and these are some very systemic problems that are not going to be fixed that way. One thing they're not talking about, the adverse demographic development in the world. We had some population booms that took place back in the 40s, the 50s, a mass amount of people, not a mass amount, but a significantly higher amount than Now we had some economic prosperity and strong families, a strong nuclear family, which sent people to be having larger families, larger homes. And these people, it says that spending peaks out around between like 55 and 65 years old when these people begin to retire and they have their excess money and they want to go out and they want to spend, they want to buy houses, boats, they want to go on vacations, trips to Florida, exotic trips. They want to relax a little bit, end their work, and they're also getting their Social Security. Now, where's the issue with this? Is that the baby boom came to an end. And so we have this massive demographic that is now collecting on their Social Security, which was more, if you figure in inflation, which was more than what we're making now. As we've been speaking about, the standard of living for the American worker has dropped significantly. So these people were making more, they were paying more, and now they're collecting more than what is going in. Now, if you think about it, and you have like a Ponzi scheme like the Social Security system is, where the people that are collect from the people that are putting in, now, when really the system was designed that it holds our money in a trust so that when we retire, we have something for us. And that is, they've used the money for their own purposes. They said they bankrupted Social Security funds to implement Obamacare. That means they took the money that they're taking from your paychecks that is supposed to be held for you to make sure that you're secure to be able to retire in these events. And so if their money has already been spent, their money has already been used, and then your money, which is supposed to be used to pay them, has just been depleted and used. Social Security is empty, and nobody's talking about it. This is a very serious systemic problem. Secondly, the amount of people that are in the workforce. We talked a little bit about the manufacturing job decline that has taken place since 1979. A massive flooding of high-paying, high-quality jobs out of this country, and the replacement of them with retail jobs, with service jobs, with food jobs. These people are waiters. They used to be machinists. They're the ones checking you out at your Macy's or your Bon-Ton. And the malls in America, they're closing because we can no longer afford the lifestyle we had. But the looming problem would be this Social Security. Is the fact that the money that is going in is not enough for the entitlements that are going out. So we have this massive demographic of people that are not spending the same, and they're aging. They're getting past the age where their maximum spending is. So we're going to see a massive decline in spending coming up. And so the recession is inevitable. A massive worldwide recession is inevitable. And they're not talking about this. They're not talking about problems like solving Social Security, which is a major problem. There is a lot of entitlements that have been set up. There's a lot of, and we see these school and states that are bankrupt, that are unable to pass funding or budgets for schools. And we have these entitlements with the teachers. You know, they work so long, they get tenure. We have some massive commitments that have been made, some massive payments that need to be made, and the amount of money that is going in, that is coming in, is not enough. And so what kind of recovery can we have when there's the intertwining? The world has learned how to live, how to survive. China has become its own. During this time, since the Great Recession in 2008, the world has learned to cope, how to survive, how to create a business without the United States, and to go back and to undo it. It's because it was intentional. To go back and to undo it, to have some sort of economic prosperity in the United States, is a threat to the entire world. And when they come crumbling down, when these banks in the Eurozone come crumbling down, these countries are voting over and over. They want to leave the Euro. We talked about the Brexit, and Greece, the Grexit. These countries don't want to remain in this system. They're voting over and over, and the people that they have had their votes, their majority votes, to leave the Eurozone, and their leaders are not performing it. We see uprisings, changes taking place, where they're changing political parties. These elections, they are going to leave. There is going to be a shock to the system. They're taking on millions and millions of migrants who are not working, as more commitments, a more drain on the social fund. They're reshaping the world as we speak, and the economic factors. If we really look at it from the ideal of a real economy, of a real business, it's insolvent. It has bad management. What do you call a company when the CEO hires a bunch of employees that he's paying too much to do nothing? Bad business. And it's destined to fall. You have to make smart moves, smart decisions with your money. And these are the kind of things we're not talking about. These looming demographic developments that are hanging over the head of the world's economy, because Americans are going to be mad. They're going to wonder what happened to their Social Security. What are they going to say when all the money we've been taking from you has just been another tax in order to implement our plans? And the money that we've been taking for you, that have secured your retirements, people are going to be scared. They're going to be afraid, which is exactly why now is the time to buy silver. Now is the time to get in and buy gold. Because fear is going to drive up the price, and the more fear, the less spending. It's going to cause this economy to crash. There is some serious systemic problems that are not being solved. They're not being addressed. They're just this more quantitative easing to try to prop up this failed economy. Alright guys, well, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe, share the videos, get this information out there, also if there's any suggestions, leave a comment in the comment box about what you want to hear coming up, and again, thank you for joining me on the Silver Report. Today is Monday, January 16th, 2017, and we'll be back at you. Have a great day.